Fritz and Laura Perls developed Gestalt therapy in the early 1940s. Fritz developed many key concepts of Gestalt therapy, but ironically never claimed to be doing group therapy. He practiced a lot of one-on-one therapy and used the technique hot seat a lot in individual therapy, but advised against using it in group therapy. Perls' technique was known to be a little bit abrasive and intense. Gestalt therapy focuses a lot on moment-to-moment experiences rather than on the past or anticipating the future. Corey defines Gestalt therapy as a humanistic, existential, and holistic model that brings a fresh and creative perspective to the practice of group work. The goal of Gestalt therapy is to enable members to increase their awareness of what they are experiencing, as well as the quality of interactions between themselves and others. Fritz and Laura believe that moment-to-moment awareness of experiencing, together with the almost immediate awareness of one's blocks to such experiencing, is seen as therapeutic in and of itself.
There are 3 generalized therapeutic goals for Gestalt therapy. Firstly, increased awareness. Awareness requires self-knowledge, responsibility for choices, contact with the environment, immersions in current experience, self-acceptance, and the ability to make contact with others. With this awareness, clients would be able to discover the resources required to solve their own problems within an environment that will make change possible. Without awareness, clients lack the tools for personality change. The second goal, integration versus analysis of problems. Rather than focusing on the past and analyzing the source of the person's problems, Gestalt therapy aims to help clients re-own parts of oneself that were previously disowned, unifying the client into an integrated whole. The closer the client comes to becoming an integrated whole and fully aware, they can then develop personal growth, make informed choices, and live a meaningful existence. The third goal, self-regulation, is necessary as the environment is never suited for all of a client's needs. Because of this environment, adjustments by the client occur and parts of them are lost to awareness. Gestalt therapy attempts to discover these lost parts and the possibilities in the client's environment. During a Gestalt therapy session, there are goals that are set for an individual as well as the group. During a Gestalt therapy session, there are goals that are set for individuals as well as the group. The individual goals for Gestalt therapy as they pertain to group members surround increased awareness that allows the individual to establish contact and boundaries with their environment, recognize conflicting thoughts within oneself, and using insight to take action, all the while also learning to support oneself rather than depending on others. In contrast, the goals set for the group as a whole pertain to increasing the overall function of the dynamics within the group. Goals focus primarily on communication methods, challenging others in a respectful manner, and utilizing other members as a resource rather than being dependent on the group leader as the director. Another concept of Gestalt therapy is his theory of change and the paradoxical theory of change. Corey defines it as personal change that tends to occur when we become aware of what we are as opposed to trying to become what we are not. And in other words, it is important that we accept who and what we are rather than striving to become what we should be. This concept is especially important when in the presence of the therapist, as they can only help direct the process of change after members gain awareness of their own lives. Through this awareness, meaningful change can occur. Personal change will begin within ourselves when we understand what we are instead of what we are not.
Holism explains that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. Understanding of oneself can only be achieved when observing all dimensions of human functioning. No value of an individual is placed higher than any other value. A client's thoughts, feelings, behaviors, body, and dreams are all attended to equally by the therapist. Any focus or emphasis on a particular value of the client depends on what the client is fixed on at any given moment. The therapist then integrates the new information into what has been shared while discovering how the client makes contact with the environment. Figure formation is the process in which an individual organizes their experiences from moment to moment. In Gestalt therapy, experiences are organized into two categories: the emerging focus of attention and the background environment. Through the figure formation process, the therapist tracks how experiences from the background environment become the focus of the client's attention and interest.
Field theory, a concept in which Gestalt therapy is grounded, states that an organism must be viewed within its environment, reminding us that the client is both influenced and influences their environment in which they live. Therapists utilizing Gestalt therapy explore the intersections between the individual and their environment. Organismic self-regulation seeks to describe the relationship between the individual and their environment. This self-regulation occurs when the equilibrium in this relationship is disturbed by an emergence of need, a sensation, or an interest, causing the individual to seek the means to satisfy those needs. Given the correct environment, resources, and individual capability, a person will seek contact to restore equilibrium to achieve growth and change.
The following concepts are therapeutic techniques as defined by Gestalt therapy. Techniques are exercises or procedures that are often used to bring about action or interaction. Experiments, phenomenologically based, evolve out of what is occurring within a member in the present moment, and the outcome is unknown. Group exercises. Prior to the group meeting, members may be asked to pair up and talk and get focused before a group session. Group experiment is a creative happening that is not predetermined.
Other therapeutic techniques and procedures include experiments with internal dialogues, making the rounds, where members will share things about themselves that they typically would not share with others, fantasy approaches, rehearsal, the exaggeration technique, and dream work in groups, where a member recreates their dreams using a narrative as if it were happening in the present. Language patterns can provide insight to a member's personality. They also tell a lot about how an individual is feeling about their current experiences. Analyzing an individual's language patterns is helpful but requires a great deal of skill from the group leader. The following are some words and themes used in speech patterns that should be looked for when running a group. It depersonalizes language. Rather than using I in a sentence, the member uses it to distance themselves from the experience in question. You. The word you, when a member is describing a particular feeling, rather than using I, is aimed at detaching themselves from their feelings. For example, you feel hurt when, rather than I statement like I feel hurt when. Questions. Members are encouraged to avoid asking questions as they often lead to confrontation. If questions are to be asked, members are asked to say how and what questions rather than why questions. The reason for this being that why questions often result in a chain of why and because exchanges. To avoid unnecessary confrontation, members are encouraged to avoid questions altogether and simply rely on I statements. In this way, members take responsibility for their actions and the opinion that they are sharing. Qualifiers and disclaimers. Qualifiers and disclaimers allow the group member to increase their awareness concerning their statements and how they diminish the message they are sending. For example, I really like you, but the way you talk with your hands makes me want to scream. Can't statements. Can't statements, meaning I can't, are generally used when members really mean I won't. Changing a member's use of can't to won't allows the member to take responsibility for their decisions. For example, I can't confront my father to I won't confront my father. Shoulds and oughts. These statements made by members often instill a feeling of powerlessness. An alternative wording that is encouraged for members is saying, "I choose to" rather than "I should be." Again, this allows the member to recognize that they hold the responsibility for their own actions. It is also important to remember that the current stage of the group can influence the progress made on changing the language patterns in members. What is said is often not what is meant in group work. It is important to also pay attention to the nonverbal language of the group members as well as the words they are using. A group leader in Gestalt therapy will look at the posture, tone of voice, facial expressions, hand positions, and other nonverbal cues and explore those cues in hoping to find their underlying meaning. It is important that group leaders not make interpretations of what a member's nonverbals mean. Rather, they are to monitor these cues and leave the interpretation of those cues to the members themselves.
Gestalt group leaders focus on the conscious awareness, contact and experimentation, and encourage members to heighten their awareness and attend to their contact styles. Leaders can share details about themselves to relate to the group in Gestalt therapy, especially by commenting on their reactions and feelings towards what is being said in the group. The leader is often referred to as similar to an artist because they are constantly inventing and creating new experiments for the group to engage in. Gestalt therapy also can be a nurturing environment to try and get the members of the group to try new ways of behaving and thinking. The therapist wants their clients to feel comfortable enough to try something that might be new and radical to the client. In Gestalt group therapy, most of the basic work is done by the group members themselves interacting with one another.
Gestalt group therapy consists of 3 different stages, each stage focused on 3 levels of intervention. The interpersonal level, which aims to have the members achieve a higher level of awareness. Interpersonal level, which promotes that the member takes therapeutic contact with others. Group level, where the members of the group provide support and insight to others in the group. The first stage, identity and dependence. During this first stage of therapy, the therapist, acting as the leader, helps individuals explore questions pertaining to their identity in the group. The leader's activities are meant to establish a climate of trust. This trust allows for members in the group to participate in more risk-taking during therapy while making connections between group members. Differentiation follows once the members of the group have found something they have in common with other members. The second stage, influence and counterdependence. In this stage, the group focuses on issues concerning influence, authority, and control. During this stage, the leader has the responsibility of directing the group towards increasing their differentiation, divergence, and role flexibility between members. The leader of the group also acts as a facilitator, helping members of the group process any thoughts and emotions they are having during group activities. Such activities include heightening the awareness of norms in the group, challenging those norms, and openly discussing the differences, dissatisfaction, and differentiating roles from others. The third stage, intimacy and interdependence. Within this stage, experiments that challenge and modifies the members' perceptions of their inner lives as well as the perceptions surrounding others' lives. The leader in this stage takes the role as a consultant and experienced resource rather than the ultimate authority. The leader helps the members discover closure and as well as any unfinished business that they have not processed within the group. Gestalt therapy is useful for both children and adolescents. This is due to personal dimensions that the leader brings to groups that provoke increased involvement of young people. Gestalt provides a theoretical approach for school counselors similar to brief interventions that can lead to both insight and behavior change. The focus on feelings, relationship with others, and sense of responsibility makes Gestalt therapy ideal for a school setting. Concerning Gestalt therapy with multicultural groups, Gestalt therapy takes into consideration the member's cultural background. As a result of this contextual and phenomenological approach, each member can be assured that their time in the group is being used in a way that fosters growth and change. For example, since some cultures rely heavily on nonverbal communication, Exploration of feelings through those nonverbal cues is encouraged in Gestalt therapy. The flexibility of this approach makes it ideal for multicultural groups.
Some strengths of Gestalt therapy are that, with the use of a more intense therapeutic style, there is a greater possibility for a powerful group session. Immediate emotions, re-experiencing old feelings, are also a strength of Gestalt therapy, and body posture is a big nonverbal strength to Gestalt therapy. A few limitations of the approach could be that the leader may become too focused on emotions rather than cognitive factors. The leader could also have a potential misuse of power, and some leaders display an imposing style which results in a misuse of power. Leaders can become threatened by the emotional intensity of the conversations in a group and may abandon members who are experiencing these intense emotions if things get out of hand.
To conclude, Gestalt therapy has proven to be a versatile approach by utilizing the leader's experimental freedom when interacting with members. These interactions engage members with others in the group as well as contact with their environment. This results in members increasing their self-awareness in combination with exploration of their contextual experiences. By ensuring that this approach remains person-centered, a leader can foster a group that promotes growth and meaningful change.